Yes, I can hear you. Good morning to other members on this call, and good morning to your audience.
All right, welcome. Give us the state of heart in Rivers State. How is it going down this morning? How the people of the state received the news that the president broke yesterday evening?
Yeah, it was a shocking news. Excuse me. Many persons didn't get the information last night. That declaration was made late into the night. And many persons were just returning from work. Some persons didn't even have power to know that a state of emergency had been declared. It was just this morning. A lot of persons are getting to know what is happening. But however, we anticipated that something was in the offing because late in the afternoon we saw strategic deployments. We saw strategic deployments at key locations within the capital. We saw unusual movements of military personnel. So we knew that something was in the offing, but nobody envisaged, especially me, that it was going to lead to a state of emergency. The assembly had earlier served some allegations around gross misconduct on the governor. So when we saw those unusual movements, we thought that it was in preparation to maybe any potential fallout that could come out from that, notice of impeachment that the state assembly served on the governor. We didn't know that was about a state of emergency, but the truth of the matter is that the state is tension soaked. It's always been like that since this crisis started. But I must make it clear here that we are not. It is not an unusual situation for us. If you are in Niger Delta, you know that the region still has some level of low-level militancy. They may not be throwing bombs on the streets. They may not be throwing bombs in the churches, but there is still some level of a low-level militancy, meaning that the conflict drivers are still very active. So if they are mismanaged, there could be implosion. And that is why some of us are worried, with the latest decision of the president. I still think that the president was not properly advised. So he has further complicated or compounded the issue. And I am looking forward and hoping that my prediction is not correct at the end of the day, because I don't see how this will resolve the crisis.
Okay, we got some reports now that the soldiers held Fubara family hostage at the River Governor's residence. How true is that report?
We know that the soldiers took over Government House last night. Even before the announcement was made, as I mentioned earlier, we saw the strange deployments. We know that they took over Government House. But for instance, I listened to some notable groups in the state. Apart from the anger and rage, one of the demands or warnings that came out very strong is the warning that has to do with the safety of the governor. A lot of groups have warned that nothing should happen to the governor. Nothing should happen to his family members and all of that, But in all, we're just praying that at the end of the day, reason will prevail, because if reason prevails, then there will be peace. So that two men, because the fight is about a political godfather and his godson. I don't see how the fight between the political godfather and the godson will now lead the state into a state of emergency. I think that it is a badly managed political conflict, even from the end of the president.
A badly managed political conflict. Now let's go to our security official, a retired Assistant Director Internal Security of SSS. Who will definitely give us up to date. Mr. Adams Abu, good morning. Welcome to the show.
Good morning. It's my pleasure to be with Nigerians this morning.
You heard what happened right there in Rivers State. How do you react to the security situation around it? What can you say as a security expert on this?
Well, thank you very much. What happened in Rivers State, as we all know, is as a result of the political logjam that we could not find solution to. You are aware that when the Supreme Court delivered a judgment, He directed that the state government should do the needful in the area of representing budgets and all the like. And up to the time the state of emergency was declared, that condition couldn't be met because the governor could not meet with the legislators, and everywhere was tense. And before we knew it, there were threats here and there, and installations have been blown right, left, and center. And so the government, as it were, had no option than to do something to protect the economy of this country. I think that was why the president did what he did. But as for the political correctness, that is the baby of politicians, and is the baby of possibly they had to go to court for the judiciary to decide. But then, even then, there is no doubt that even the action will again trigger some security threats within that region, and even extending to some parts of the country if we did not manage it well. So I want to believe that the government is not resting on its oars by declaring state of emergency, but certainly doing something to ensure that the political logjam in Rivers is solved so that we can get back to normalcy in no distant future. I think that is all. But then I want to say that security agents in that part of the country have a lot to do now to curtail a likely fallout of a security breach, further security breach in that part of the country.
Thank you very much. Before we come to more stories on it, let me tell you that Tinubu has announced retired Vice Admiral Ibas as the Rivers State Administrator. We'll come more on that, but let me go to a member of the PDP National Presidential Campaign Council and the former SDP governorship candidate in 2019 election, Dr. Adetokunbo Pierce. Doctor, good morning. Welcome to the show. Dr. Adetokunbo, can you hear? Hello, Dr. Adetokunbo, are you there? Can you hear me? Okay, let's move on. Let's listen to the broadcast from the president who had declared a state of emergency in Rivers State. Let's listen to the broadcast and we'll come back and talk more. We head to Rivers State also.
Security report made available any action to curtail them. I have, of course, given stand order to the security agencies to ensure safety of lives of good people of Rivers State and the oil pipelines. With all this, to address the situation in the state, which no doubt requires extraordinary situation in Rivers State. And the governor and deputy governor of Rivers State haven't failed to make a request to me as president to issue this proclamation as required by Section 305, Paragraph 5 of the 1999 Constitution as amended. It has become inevitably compelling for me to invoke the provision of the Section 305 of the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, 1999, as amended, to declare a state of emergency in Rivers State with effect from today, 18th March, year 2025, and I so do. By this declaration, the governor of Rivers State, Mr. Similaye Fubara, his deputy, Mrs. Ngozi Odu, and all elected members of the House of Assembly State are hereby suspended for an initial period of 6 months. In the meantime, I hereby nominate Vice Admiral Advocate Ibas, retired, as administrator to take charge of the affairs of the state in the interests of the good people of Rivers State. For the avoidance of doubt, this declaration does not affect the judicial arm of Rivers State, which shall continue to function in accordance with their constitutional mandate. The administrator will not make any new laws. He will, however, be free to formulate regulations and may be found necessary to do his job, but such regulations will need to be considered and approved by the Federal Executive Council and promoted by the President for the state. This declaration has been published in the Federal Gazette, a copy of which has been forwarded to the National Assembly in accordance with the Constitution. It is my fervent hope that this inevitable intervention will help to restore peace and order in Rivers State by awakening all the contenders to the constitutional imperatives, binding on all political players in the Rivers State in particular and Nigeria as a whole. Long live a united, peaceful, secured, and democratic Rivers State in particular, and the Federal Republic of Nigeria as a whole. God bless you all for listening.
That's the president broadcast yesterday, declaring a state of emergency in Rivers State. So we'll still have a member of the PDP National Presidential Campaign Council and former SDP governorship candidate of 2019 election. We'll still have a former spokesman, Civil Liberty Organization in Rivers State, Mr. Sonny Dada. Mr. Sonny Dada, I hope you had the president broadcast there.
Yes, of course I did.
Mr. Tokumbo Press, I don't know if you also had the broadcast.
Of course, yes, sure.
All right, Mr. Adams, let me come to Mr. Tokumbo. We've not heard from you quickly. When you had the broadcast, what came to your mind? When you had that reaction from the president, that, power, that the president had to declare state of emergency in River State, what came to your mind? Dr. Tokumbo, I'm referring to you. I don't know if you can hear me.
Okay. Yeah, I don't know, when you talk to me directly on the phone, it's very clear, but when you go here, I'm struggling to hear what you're saying.
Apologies for that.
I was not unduly surprised when I heard the broadcast, because for months now, we know that there's been a lot of turmoil in River State. And Mr. Wike, the former governor, all his activities in River State in the last few months were designed to cripple the government of River State. So we knew that either what he wanted was for the governor, Fubara, to be impeached. When that did not happen, and the people rose against Wike's intentions, it seems that they went to Plan B and started causing confusion and riots there and burnings there. And therefore, they had they thought, the president and Wike thought they have a legitimate excuse to declare a state of emergency. And this state of emergency, I don't think it will stand, because it is obviously a deliberate ploy to subvert constitutional democracy. We are not in the military regime where the president and the commander-in-chief of the armed forces, who was not elected by anybody, would go and declare any governor illegitimate because he himself, the president, was not elected. Therefore, he can do whatever he wants with the governor, who was also not elected but appointed by him. In this case, the people of River State elected through a democratic process Governor Fubara. And it is not within the powers of President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, who was also elected by people, to dismiss him the way he has done, just like that. This is the way Tinubu took away subsidy and began the crash of the Nigerian economy. Our president is not a thoughtful man. He's an emotional man who acts on instinct, because all he wants is to get his way in politics, legally or illegally. He will end up in the trash bin of history, as people like him have always done.
Okay, thank you very much. Let me come to Mr. Sonny Dada. Mr. Sonny Dada, are you there?
Yes, yes.
I mean, you heard that speech from the president. He said that no actions were taken by the governor, especially on all the pipeline vandals and some political incidents, even despite the fact that he at a point, interfere in the crisis. But then maybe the governor didn't just listen to him. How do you you are in the state there, you feel the heat, you've talked to people right there, you've visited places, so how do you react to what the president said in broadcast, that no actions were taken by the governor in all of those crises?
You are breaking a bit, but I don't know whether you're talking about the pipeline vandalization or
Yes.
the inaction or actions of the governor.
Inactions
Now,
of the governor, I mean, and the president has said and accused the governor of not taking action.
Okay, yeah. Now, and that is why some of us are worried. Listening to what the president said, we are worried because the president is pretending not to know